They've been intriguing subscribers from the very beginning, eliciting curiosity and many a comment. And so, by popular demand, I'm gonna show you my bridges, and maybe a package or two as well. Start your engines. On a previous episode, I did some track modifications. I was very happy with the results, but there was this one little section that wasn't quite right. But nothing a couple of 230 curves couldn't fix, and now that part of the circuit is perfect. Today, however, it's all about the bridges. I've removed all three to do a little more work on them. So this is a perfect opportunity to show you how I put these things together. Their design and construction is pretty straightforward. I actually used a bunch of leftover bits and pieces from the back shed. True. Now I used a few pieces of track as spacers during the construction. This made it very simple to get the dimensions correct. So there was no guesswork. The entire bridge, its width, its height, its length was literally built around the track itself. Now I started off by first creating these two main pieces. And these could be as long as you need them to be. I cut the ends at a slight angle for style, and then I cut the four tower sections, if you like. I then added these top pieces so I could display some advertising banners, and I'll also fit some lighting later on. Now if we have a little peek underneath, you'll see I've just got these thin pieces of timber that are attached to the bottom of the side pieces. As I mentioned before, using the track as a spacer, you'll see I also allowed a little wriggle room. Just thought it'd be a good idea. You never know. So as you can see, approaching it this way made it dead easy to put together. And a little low sheen black paint goes a long way at hiding all the nasty nasties, which will make more sense later on. Now as I developed the idea for this bridge, I also took into consideration the way it might be used. For example, if you were building a main junction in your layout where two lots of track were passing underneath, I made sure the towers were spaced far enough apart so you could do just that. That would look pretty good. I'm getting all sorts of ideas just looking at that image now. This is proving to be a dangerous video, for me at least. Actually, my main objective when I made these bridges was to run a track directly underneath, parallel with the top deck. And I guess you could say, mission accomplished. Now, as for those main support struts, I just used some wooden dowel. I think it's 10mm thick. Cut them at an angle, and then just glued them on. They looked so good I decided to put a second row on, and then suddenly they looked even better. For these top pieces, I cut them at the same angle as I did those side pieces, and then they were just glued on like the rest. As I said, pretty straightforward. Not a lot to it really. But I soon discovered that I'd made them just a little too low, so today I've created these wooden footings. Now under normal circumstances, there's plenty of space for the cars to pass underneath. But what I didn't consider is if I ever wanted to strap a camera to one of the cars and run it around the circuit, well, let's just say I figured this out the hard way. It was almost a disaster. But not to worry, the solution is at hand. Once all the scenics are done, these little wooden blocks will resemble some great big concrete footings like you see at the base of some bridges. These will also solve the problem with camera clearance. As you'll see now, there's plenty of space between the top of the car and the underside of the bridge. Plenty of space for our little GoPro and whatever other camera we might use in the future. And I'm really digging this under-bridge view. Now, as I mentioned before, I was careful to allow a little wriggle room on the sides of the track. This is in case you have any guardrail attached and any clips protruding within the bridge space. It also makes it a whole lot easier to slide the track in there during installation. I'm really pleased with the way these bridges turned out, and the cars look great passing over them. Now these struts I painted with a spray paint. It's supposed to be chrome, but it turns out looking like galvanized steel, which is exactly what I was after. And you know what? I think I might use this same spray paint on other features on the layout, such as those rather toyish looking standard guardrails. So there it is, one of the smaller bridges, complete with new footings. Let's put it into place and see how it looks. Very nice, and plenty of clearance for the camera car too. Now here's the big kahuna, my triple tower monster. And this is something I found in the back shed. Your garden variety IKEA strip lighting set. Another leftover from a previous project. And I don't know how old it is, but the power supply lead has turned yellow, so there's an indicator. Regardless, I got a great idea for this bridge. Now before I jump in, it's probably a good idea to test this to see if it still works. Look at that yellowing. Everything seems to be here. There's several strip pieces, and they look to be in good order. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that they actually work. Now they're dead easy to put together, you just slide them in as such. And I ended up with 4 pieces, which, when combined, they are exactly the right length, more or less, to fit this bridge. It's very strange. So the idea is I'm going to install them running directly down the centre, and as you can see, the strip spans the entire distance between the outermost towers. Well, there you go, still working. And with that being the case, let's go ahead and install it. I'm hoping it's going to resemble the lighting you see in real tunnels. You know, those seemingly endless lines of fluorescent lighting. If my hunch is right, I think this is going to look pretty darn good, at least from a perspective of the cars themselves. I've measured so it's dead centre, and hopefully this will line up perfectly with that dotted centre line on the Carrera track. Well, all done, and it still works after installation. Another good sign. In amongst everything, I found these little cover strips. And check out the length of this thing. It's pretty much exactly what we need to cover this cable. I don't know what's going on here. Like, even this 3M double-sided mounting tape is okay. It hasn't perished. Backing piece slides in perfectly okay. And now have a look at this. Look at that length. Perfect. To the millimetre. What are the chances of that ever happening? I have a very good feeling about this now. Look at it. As I said, to the millimetre. Now let's flip the camera over and see what it would look like. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now let's get this installed back on the layout. Now along with its new footings, the big kahuna is back in place. And it's just a matter of feeding the track through and reconnecting everything. Now that its height has been corrected, I guess there's nothing to stop us from putting a camera on top of one of the cars and running it through to see what it looks like. Nice. Wow, even better. So let's see what it looks like on a car. Oh, wow. That's great. So there you are, the bridges, now with lights. Well, some lights. I'll no doubt be adding more to the upper deck when I find the right ones. By the way, bridge number 3's legs ended up being all in the wrong place, so I've made some alterations on the fly. This is a work in progress, but trust me, the end result's gonna look pretty fantastic. And hey, those IKEA strip lights, they still have them. Think I'll go grab a few more while I can. Oh, and how about a little gratuitous self-promotion to take these bridges to the next level? Nice. Yep, we got mail.
Ooh, show us your package.
Wow! Yet again, here's a package all the way from the UK. Another fine item from the folks at Green Hills Garages, Parts and Scenics. Now, I'd been looking around for one of these for quite some time. An item that has proven to be rather quite elusive. So when I finally found it, I pounced. And now, like some sort of miracle, just in time for our Bridges special, it's the Carrera branded footbridge, complete with flags. I searched far and wide for one of these, and finally here it is. So let's not muck around. Let's put this thing together right now and see what it looks like on the layout. Oh, it's like opening a box of cross trainers. Look at that. It's surprisingly more complicated than I thought it would be. And I think it's going to be huge. I mean, this thing is much more impressive than the Scalextric's Dunlop bridge I got earlier. Interesting. It's proving a little fiddly to fit these signage sections, but I think I got it. Yeah, that looks about right. Now these just slide on in like so. Very good quality, I might add. I'm impressed. And now to the flags. There's one. There's another one. Oh, that's number 6, thanks to the time-lapse. And there you have it. Way easier to put together than their garages, that's for sure. And let me tell you, in person, this thing is amazing. Definitely a must-have addition to your Carrera Digital 132 layout. Just look at that. Definitely well worth the wait. And together with my own custom-made bridges, we're definitely in for a real visual treat when I start filming some actual races. That's all I've got for you, adventurers. Until next time. On the next episode of Hughes Garage Slot Car Adventures, The Mountain of Doom. Until next time.